Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspiration and Hope is proudly brought to you today by the good guys at the 6-Minute Webinar. I tell you right now, that 6-minute webinar is absolutely amazing. If you are struggling trying to get your message out to your ideal clients, the 6-minute webinar will automatically do that for you. There's 12 sections, about 40 questions. You just answer just little bullet points. Then you hit submit, and it delivers the complete 6-minute webinar right into your inbox. Then all you got to do is just read it and record it. Game over. It is that simple. It's one of the most amazing tools I've ever seen. I'm so happy to be associated with the 6-minute webinar. And most importantly, what really gets me is that every single person that we've had in the webinar training, we're talking about 3 solid hours, no breaks, 3 solid hours. No one is left and no one has said, well, thank you very much, but this is not for me. Everybody's kind of like, whoa, this is something else. But we'll be right back. Our guest today is Denise Sheriff, an amazing lady, a great friend of Charlene Fouts, our co-host here on E360 TV. Charlene is going to be in and out, maybe out because she's taking care of some personal things or business things, and we might be able to see her, but if not, this is who she is in case you haven't seen her.
Hi, and welcome to the Messages of Inspiration and Hope show that's proudly sponsored by the 6-Minute Webinar. Today we have some exciting and very interesting guests, real people just like you and me. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Now here's Jim.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you right now, the guest we got on today, Denise Sheriff, she's going to be talking to us about encouragement. And that's something we all need in this world right now because, as we all know, the things that we see on TV are the things we need to stay away from. There's just too much meanness. There's just too much evil and wicked things being said that should not be said. When I was growing up, my mother used to always teach me, son, if you can't say anything nice about someone, then don't say anything at all. And her advice, it just rings true. Because what if this world was like that? If we could not say something nice about someone, we just didn't say anything at all. The world would be a much better place because encouragement is what this show is all about. We've had people from all walks of life. Yesterday, we had Dr. Andrew on, and Dr. Andrew Ackerman, he's going to be back with us on next Monday. We had some technical issues there. We're going to get those solved. We want him back on there. You might have heard that bump on the glass over there. We have birds that fly into our glass. Don't ask me why, but they do. But that's what that noise was. Well, we're going to have Dr. Ackerman on next Monday, and he has got a tremendous, tremendous story. He broke his neck at the age of, he was almost 16. He dove into the ocean, and evidently he must have hit a piece of wood that was stuck in the sand or something and broke his neck, and he's been in a wheelchair ever since. But he also is, I think he's the only doctor, I may be wrong on this, but I think he's the only doctor that actually completed medical school. That's quite an inspiring story. We look forward to having him on next week, so be sure and tune in next Monday. And let me welcome the young lady that's going to be our guest today, Denise Sheriff, to the stage. Hey, Denise, how you doing?
Hi there, Jim. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing real good. We had a lot of fun before the show started, huh?
Yeah, we had a great visit. It was good to pop on early and just get to chat for a minute. So now I'll try to hold it together.
Yep. I was teasing her. I was telling her I was scared, and that. And she's going to have to carry the ball and all.
And I said, well, I am an off-the-cuff kind of person, so I wouldn't have to worry about it then if I were just thrown into it, would I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Denise was in, Charlene, I'll get my tongue going here in a minute. Charlene was with us a little earlier, but she had to pop out. She works for another company, and they got an issue there. So she's going to try to join us as much as she can, but we're just so glad to have her she's also an honorary host here on the E360 TV network. And Denise, before we get started, would you just be so kind as to share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and take us into your life's journey a little bit, please.
All right. Well, I grew up in California in the San Joaquin Valley, and that's halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. And so it was the farming community. I think at that time, the San Joaquin Valley produced most of the vegetables and fruit for, the entire world. It was huge at that time. So, and in that, I grew up with people from a lot of different countries. And so I had friends that were from, Mexico. We had Oriental, Asian friends, and I just loved that I had so many different friends from everywhere. I learned to appreciate a lot of different foods, which can be a problem, but a lot of different foods, a lot of different cultures, and getting to know people from other countries was really delightful. My father had so many friends, and so I kind of take after him in that I really love people. And I love to have a table that's set you always have an extra plate set for someone else. And so I grew up there, and then I moved to Oregon and lived in Oregon until, I've lived in Tennessee for the last 16 years. And so that's been a little bit of my journey to get to Tennessee here. And I actually met Charlene on a plane coming back from Oregon, visiting family and friends. So, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, that's really amazing. We're going to hear a little bit more as we go forward about how you and Charlene first met, because you're involved with the Hannah Project.
Yes.
And that is a great organization that she started. And Charlene and we met on the original webinar series that we had during the pandemic last year. And when I heard her story, the one thing that just really stood out, because she went through a lot of, sexual trauma, abuse, that sort of thing. And you can imagine how that can affect anybody. But when you look at Charlene, she's got that light in her eyes.
Absolutely.
Bright smile. And I mean, it did not define her. It did not own her. It does not control her. She created healingacresneveragain.org. They call it Hannah. And the reason she did that was that she wanted to be there for someone else.
Right.
And it's really amazing. And so you met her on an airplane, huh? And go ahead.
I was coming back and she sat by me and we just immediately connected. And I really love how the Lord makes those connections. Those are I call the Kairos Moments. It's there. And so we chatted, and her story, it just stole my heart, and it just made a connection, with her at that time. And I can't imagine, everybody's had tragedies, but hers is one of the most horrible stories that I've ever heard about her life and what she's been through. And the fact that she has a light in her eyes today. And she's actually, she's moving forward to help other people, Jim. I think that's what we all want to do, with our past, what it means. And we all have one, and we just want to be able to take our experiences and help others.
Oh, yeah, because in reality, that's what we're here for. We're here to use our talents, our gifts to be a blessing to others.
Yes.
And when you do, that's when you're living the most fulfilling life that you can possibly live. And during the pandemic, we reached out to, I don't know how many people saw those webinars, but we had about 300 different speakers on there during that series. And then we got invited to join the E360 TV network. And this is how we actually got on live streaming TV. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, other branded channels, and Periscope, Twitch, YouTube. Of course, we're on Facebook too. But it's just amazing how we get out to all the different places, to millions of devices around the world. And it
Mhm.
really is an honor. And people ask me how it all came about. And it's really simple. It wasn't anything we planned. It's just that we were focused on helping and serving others in their hour of need during the dark days of the pandemic. Because
Mhm.
let's be honest, when that thing, according to the news media, we were expecting to see people walking down the street and dropping dead.
I know.
I mean, it was just horrible, the type of predictions that they gave us. And we didn't know. No one knew. We were all in the same boat. We
Mhm.
just knew that we did not want any part of that COVID or whatever, the 19 or 18, whatever it was,
Whatever. Yes. It was bad.
But it was bad, yeah. And then put salt on the wound. Now they scared us all to death because the first
Yes,
the
they did.
first thing that everybody would go to when they went to the supermarket was straight to the toilet paper aisle. And I'm thinking, why would that? I mean, you would think canned food or
No.
I don't know. I don't know what Einstein came up with that.
We Well, Jim, we're a spoiled country in some ways that we want
Oh
those
yeah.
things that we want. If I can share a little bit right now, that brings to mind something when my husband and son, we went to Nicaragua for our first family outreach.
Hmm.
And we stayed at a YWAM base out there in the middle of the jungle, and it was all fenced in and everything. But when we went into town to perform and to speak and all of that and had to use the restroom, there was a person standing at the door handing you your 3 sheets of toilet paper.
Hmm.
That was it. I mean, there just wasn't a large, commodity of it. It just wasn't
Hmm.
there. So when I got back to the United States, I was very happy about that,
Oh yeah.
but I was one, there was nobody had any toilet paper, and we had people from our church that had these things. Okay, do you need anything? And so I actually did need some. And my son, I was sharing with him and his wife, and a friend of mine called and she goes, I've got some toilet paper. Do you want some? Meet me at the parking lot of the grocery store down the street. And I said,
Hmm.
okay, it's a COVID operation. So I got in my
Yeah.
car, went down there, we pulled up beside each other in the car, and she handed me my packages and I said, thank you. And we drove away.
Hmm.
So it was kind of a fun thing. We just, we made light of a tough situation. We just helped
Yeah.
each other. So
And one thing that we do here on the show is that we also have a lot of humor. We laugh a lot and all that because
mhm.
laughter is good for you.
It
It's good
is.
for your mind. It's good for your heart. It's good for your body. It's good for you. And a lot of people we see on TV today, I'm convinced that they're miserable
Mm,
because when you're always spewing negative things out there and you're vomiting, what I call vomiting on society,
yes.
you cannot be happy. There's just the two don't go together any more than snow at harvest time,
I don't
they
think
just
so.
don't. And that's what's made this show so popular. And the thing that I like about having Charlene on here is her wonderful sense of humor, her
Mhm.
ability to be able to fill in the gaps, and her insight.
Mhm.
She's got
It's
very keen
amazing.
insight. And I
Mhm.
imagine you picked up on that being around her, huh?
Mhm. Yes, absolutely, she does, and the thing is, when I go about my day, my routine of going out and doing the things that I need to do, if I come across someone that is, having a bad day, a person that's working at the counter or
Mm,
something, I always try to change that for them, be the person that's going to draw them out. And most of the time, I am successful in that. And that's a blessing
mhm.
because who knows what they're going through,
Right.
so it's so much easier to compliment someone, to try to make someone feel better than it is to make somebody that feels bad feel worse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And you know what's one thing that's shocked me, and I shared this on a previous show, so if you folks hear it again, please forgive me. But people that know me, they know I've got a sense of humor.
Mhm.
And some people may think it's a lack of sense, but that's okay. But I remember I was coming back from Phoenix and I saw these billboard signs advertising this little, convenience store. And I could tell it was a, family owned type of store. And at the top of each one of the billboards, it had clean restrooms, clean restrooms, clean restrooms. So
Mhm.
I stopped in there and used the restroom and all, got a couple things and went up to pay for them. And the lady was ringing me up, and I says, "Ma'am, I saw you. your billboards and all. You guys really got a nice place here." She says, "Oh, well, thank you so much." I said, "I hope it's okay if I did not clean the restrooms because all the signs tell me to clean." And she cracked up laughing.
She's
And
probably like at first, what?
yeah, yeah.
That's
And then she said something to me because I just said it just for a good laugh, nothing more. Okay. Then she says this to me. She says, "Thank you so much for that laugh." She says, "I have not had a good laugh in several weeks." And I thought, wow, that was just a little innocent, dumb little joke, play on words. But there's so many times that we've lost our ability to, lighten the load of people that we come in contact with, or say something, that would make them smile or make their day a little brighter.
Mhm.
And that's why I don't care to watch I don't watch anything on TV that's negative. I don't have time for it because it's just, what for? I mean, it's kind of like having a fertile ground out there. You can plant a garden of vegetables and things of this nature. Why would you plant poisonous crops out there? I,
Absolutely.
yeah, you wouldn't want to put poison ivy out there. That stuff will grow anywhere.
No, no, highly allergic.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Very much so. But you're right, and I mean, if you look at the news and you watch the news or something,
Hmm.
it is a lot of negativity,
Hmm.
and it just
Meanness.
needs. It's what. Yes, you're right. You're right. People are seem to be angry.
Oh, yeah.
Today. I mean, from freeway driving, and not that I'm a perfect driver, but I never intentionally make a mistake. And my goodness,
Mm.
sometimes the way people react, you'd think that I would have really done something I shouldn't have done on the freeway or something, and they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
very angry, and I some people say this is just the way it is, and I say, well, I don't believe that.
Mm-mm.
I
No,
think
no.
that I think that it does not have to be that way. It's not that way for me.
Yeah, exactly. Because whatever we do in life, it's always a choice.
Hmm.
It comes down to a choice. It really does.
Yes.
And the choice is, do you want to be a blessing to someone, or you just want to be, you want to be miserable and enjoy yourself. So some people act like they enjoy being miserable. And to me,
Right.
life is too short. It really is. I mean, if you're focused on loving your family and your friends and people you come in
Mhm.
contact with and treat them the way you want to be treated,
Yes.
game over.
Yes,
Game over.
exactly, exactly. I have my father remarried
Hmm.
later in life. He had been married to my mother for over 50 years,
Uh-huh.
and he remarried again at 80. And
Wow.
I know, he's just was an amazing man. But anyway, the woman he married, she had some health issues. And so
Hmm.
whenever we talk on the phone, I loved her. I enjoyed her, but she would always be negative. And there weren't a lot of people that could talk to her because they would be brought down by it. But I
Yeah.
would always manage to make her laugh. And then
Hmm.
she was delightful when she could laugh,
Hmm.
And so that was much better,
Oh, yeah.
much better.
You're also a motivational speaker. You've been a keynote speaker, have you not?
I have. I
Would you share
have.
that with us?
Well, when my husband passed away in 2017 in November, and the day a friend of mine, Yvonne Conte, who has the Day of Joy, and she invited me to come and speak um, in March the following year.
Hmm.
And so I said, sure, I would love to. What will I talk about? And the next night, I had to call her and tell her that my husband passed away suddenly.
Mm.
But the thing is, Jim, that was a lifeline to me, and I knew I had to take a message to the group of women there.
Mm.
And so the Lord, I don't know, I only did it by the grace of God.
Hmm.
And so I never backed away from that. I said, I need to do this. I want to
Hmm.
do this. And so when I went there, I brought that to this group of women.
Hmm.
And it was a lifeline that I was receiving, but it also gave them a lifeline to the tragedies in their life. And that
Hmm.
to set an example that, you know, we can make it, we can move forward.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so um, it was good. I mean, after that speaking time, I mean, so many women came up and just shared what was going on in their life, the tragedies that they were experiencing. And I was able to be, pretty much my husband had been gone only 4 months. And I just knew that I wanted to bring that message. And so that was kind of unique. And that was God moving in my life
Oh,
to help
yeah.
me with that and to help other women. So it was a wonderful time. Wonderful time.
And I imagine in the process there, as you were talking, I would just, could just visualize and feel that it was a healing moment for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's extremely important because we're social creatures.
Mm-hmm.
We know some people that don't care to be too social, but really deep down inside, we are social people. I mean, we're creatures. That's the way we're wired. It really
Yes.
is.
Yes.
And in addition to that, you've also, you spoke at the Day of Joy conference that was in Fort Myers, Florida, and also in Chattanooga, Tennessee. You were at the Women of the Word, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that too is a group of women that get together to equip them, to encourage them wherever they are, and
Mm-hmm.
it's equipping them and helping them get through where they are, to get them to see how they can get beyond where they're stuck,
Mm-hmm.
to empower them to work toward their dreams and their goals,
Mm-hmm.
and know that they can be restored, whatever the problem is, and they can be healed.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have women from all walks of life that are there. And so they are encouraged, they lift one another up, they
Mm-hmm.
inspire each other, and they have programs that help them move forward and to walk in their gifts.
Mm-hmm. I've got your website up there, Denise Sheriff, 2 R's and 2 F's,
Yes.
denisesheriff.com. When someone goes to your website, and what would they kind of like see there? What would they tell us a little bit about your website?
Well, I think on the website, what I do is I post usually with a picture that inspires me about what I want to talk about. And I take those things from everyday life, and
Mm-hmm.
then I ask God to give me something, a message for that. And I oftentimes will use people I know and just
Mm-hmm.
write something that's not long, very short, and they can go there and they can get a different perspective on
Mm-hmm.
just about anything. They may see a picture, and some people will see certain things in a picture but fail to see other things, the whole picture. And so a lot of times I'll ask the question, and what do you see? And then I'll ask, what else do you see? This is what's actually
Mm.
there too. And
Oh, yeah.
so I try to find some very interesting photographs that can stir that up, but it's about everyday life and what happens in my life. I just want to put it on there and let
Mm-hmm.
people see how they can get a new perspective and a new way of looking at something.
I like when you said that because I've known people, you look at art or something like that that's very, I don't know the proper term, whether it's abstract or whatever, and someone will say, wow, I see this. And I'm going like, okay.
Yes, I know. I know.
It's some people have that artistic eye and that creativity that they can actually
Mhm.
see things in a
Mhm.
picture. And I'm going like, okay, I
And you
can.
don't know what to say, right? You're like, "Oh,
Right,
what
yeah,
is that
because you
your
don't want to,
thinking?" You don't wanna
yeah,
make you feel bad,
because
but
you don't want to insult them. You don't want to appear like the dumbest guy on planet Earth either. Like,
why aren't we seeing it,
yeah,
right? I
oh
know,
yeah,
I know.
and
Well,
it'd be kind of fun to go into one of those art galleries like that and have something pre-programmed, and have someone that is kind of like me, and everybody say,
yeah,
"Yeah, I see this. I see that too. You see that? Oh yeah, I see that." And just watch
I
the
just
expression on their face. that
I'm
that
all
that
in, let's do that. That would be fun, that
It
would be
would
fun.
be. It
Mhm.
would be. I
Yeah,
tell you.
the most I can really see is like I can see when, the clouds are changing. And I
Mm.
noticed things like that,
I've
but, you remember for a
yeah.
while, Jim, they had those, I don't know what you call them, but if you stared at it, you could finally see what
Oh
was in there.
yeah.
Do you remember that? But you'd have to stare at it, and if you didn't stare at it just right, you could never see it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. I sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm
there
glad
was
that
some.
passed.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there were some things I could see and some things I couldn't.
I know.
And one of the things I never had any problem seeing was the numbers in the dots and all that, the color, you determine whether you're
Oh,
colorblind or not. I never had any problem with that. I just almost thumb through that, just lickety split.
yes.
But those other things, when you stare at it, then it changes this. Or like the girl that, spinning one way, the ballerina, and then she'll spin the other way. I'm going like,
Yeah.
that's
And it's
kind of
almost
weird.
like, did you ever you experience oh, I see it. Oh, it's gone. You
Yeah.
would see it for a second, oh,
Yeah.
it's gone. So
Oh,
you look
yeah.
away and try to get it back, but yeah,
Yeah.
those were very interesting.
I've got your email up there, and it's Kairos. Is that
Kairos
right?
moments.
Kairos
Kairos
Moments,
moments.
2017 at yahoo.com. That's Kairos Moments with an S,
Yes.
2017 at yahoo.com.
Yes.
And you wrote a book on that, didn't you?
I did.
Would you
I
share that with us? Mhm.
This book right
Oh,
here.
okay.
This
Bring it,
book.
bring it a little closer to the camera so we can see it there, Brad. Okay, a little bit to your. There we go.
Yeah, Kairos moments.
Okay, great. And
Yeah,
that's on Amazon?
it is.
Mhm.
And Barnes and Noble.
Mm.
Yes.
Could you read about 20 or 30 pages for us right quick?
Right away. All right, I can work on that. How long
Yeah.
do we have?
Oh, at least a couple of days. But share,
Fine.
first of all, share with us the inspiration behind writing your book.
Well, Jim, I knew I was supposed to write a book, and I wanted to always write a book,
Mhm.
and I walked away from it. I turned from it because I didn't know how to do it and didn't know the first thing about it. How do you even start it? So I never did. Well, the Lord over time kind of made it for me that I said, all right, Lord, I won't say no anymore. I get it. I get it. I'll write it. So I
Mhm.
sat down and I said, what is it going to be about? And I have binders, Jim, binders of things I've written, thoughts, prayer, just that are notes on it all. And
Mhm.
it's like the Lord said, I don't know, you got a lot of binders, just pick one. So I
Hmm.
picked a binder and I opened it up and it was like a journal of praying for my pastor's wife.
Hmm.
And I started pulling out of that prayer time and what I had been praying about. And the Lord just revealed to me how I could write about it. So I began, and I didn't know how long it was going to be. So
Mhm.
what happened is it ended up that I applied my personal experiences, my life
Mm.
situation that I had been through, where I wanted it to be something like I was talking to somebody.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's exactly how it turned out. And so each chapter is about 2 pages long. That's
Hmm.
it. And it's filled with nuggets, and they have funny titles, Are You Willing to Give It Up? Or Make the Exchange,
Mhm.
or Oh Ye of Superpower. And then I have wonderful stories that people can relate to.
Hmm.
And then there's scripture to it. And then I was asked for a workbook. And I said, a workbook? I don't even know how to do a workbook. And I had a
Hmm.
friend of mine at Barnes and Noble, and he said, Denise, you don't have to know how to do everything because people will come alongside you to help you. So
Mhm.
here is the workbook.
Hmm.
And so I am enjoying that so much. And
Hmm.
it allows me to talk a little bit more in depth about all the nuggets that are in each chapter.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
am excited. I am excited. And I see the
Mhm.
fruit of it. So I finally did that. Had a great inspiration from people and friends. So I'm glad it's there. And it came out. The book came out a month before my husband passed away, and so we were able to share that together.
Mhm.
That. So that was a good thing.
Absolutely, because that's one thing that I've heard consistently from authors is that when they get inspired to write a book, even though they've never written a book, they use their life, they write from the heart,
Mhm.
and everything just seems to come together for them. And the secret to that is that they're not writing about a philosophy or ideology. They're not writing about something that they've, heard other stories about. What they're writing about things that they've experienced in their life. They've got skin in the game,
Yes.
and it means so much more to the reader because you're taking that whoever reads your story, you're taking them on a mental journey with you.
Mhm.
And I never will forget we had Tina Ridge on. She was on the original webinar series. And Tina was she was dealing with depression at the time, and just dealing with some things in her life. And one morning she's going to work, and somehow or another a dump truck just kind of drifted over, didn't see her, and clipped the left rear of her car, which spun
Mhm.
her sideways right in front of him. And then the dump truck just hit her right in the door, and it's
Wow.
pushing her right down the freeway. And she's going through all this, and I went through it very quickly, did a very poor job. But Tina was talking about the noise, the bam, the way it
Mhm.
flipped me sideways. I heard the tires squeak. You were right there
Mhm.
in that car with her.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she was talking about, this is it. I won't see my kids again. All the
Mhm.
things that were really important to her came to her mind.
Mhm.
And now it was going to be taken away from her, because when she just looked out the window, all she saw was that big, massive grill from that truck. And the driver couldn't see her because he thought, what's going on with the truck here? Something's
Really.
not right. So then he eventually stopped, and there she was. And, she just figured that this guy's going to kill me, you know.
Mhm.
What my point being is that, like you writing your book and her telling her story, and she wrote a book about her life and all, she can take you just like you can take them right along on that journey with them. And
Mhm.
that's what people connect to. That's what people love.
Yes. And well, Jim, I really wanted it to be a book that people could. And so
Hmm.
I write about things that happened to me, even that were hurtful, and how I overcame them. And and everybody has those things in their past.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't move on from
Hmm.
that. And so in the book, with these little chapters of these nuggets of situations that happened in our past, you know, we're supposed to use those so that we can make better decisions today and help others get through those things so that we can have a better future.
Hmm.
I believe that the Lord wants to weave the past and the present together. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it does mean a lot. I've used my son a lot in my book, about stories about him and this and that, or people. And I just used everyday life. And so,
Hmm.
and very simple, very simply written, simply
Oh,
written.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because the word, let me put your email address there. The word Kairos, you said that's Greek.
Great.
And
Yeah.
and you said it means very fitting at the time or something like that. And when I
Mhm.
read that, what came to my mind is what Bill Heinrich talks about. I'm going to put up Bill's book there right quick. It's an ebook that you can get on Clarity. This is
Okay.
a great book, and you just go to my free book, three simple words, myfreebook.me. M is in Mike, E is in Echo. And Bill is one of the co-founders of the 6 Minute Webinar. He will not, send you spam or try to sell you, anything else. He's too busy for that.
Yeah.
But he tells people, no matter what's going on in your life, right now you're at the perfect place for you, because now you're not going to go backward. You're going to go forward. And anytime, wherever you're at, and you're going forward, you're
Mhm.
growing as you go.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'd never thought about like that he said that, but that was really amazing
Mhm.
because it's so true. Because that's what your book's about.
Mhm.
About right now you're in a perfect place. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. That sort of thing.
Right.
And
Right. And just take it as, life is one step at a time. Everything that we do or go through is
hmm
preparation for the next thing.
hmm
And I had one of my dear girls that I've mentored, I said, there's stepping stones in life. And God doesn't want you to step over the stepping stone. He wants you to step on it, step upon
hmm
it, because on every stone, you have something you need to do.
Yeah.
And so, it's very simple ways. He just wants you to not worry so much about where you are, but
hmm
more what you can get out of where you are.
Yeah. Because a lot of people in life, they're stuck in the physical, because when we're born on this earth, we're born in a world of survival. We've
Yes.
got to survive. And when you think about the pandemic, everything that scared us about the pandemic was all physical. But once we release that and we look to the universe, because the universe is a vibration, it's just expanding and expanding and expanding. But in the universe, that's where everything is in abundance. starting with love. That is the glue that holds everything together. Just like
Absolutely.
gravity keeps everything on physical on planet Earth,
Hmm.
love is the glue that holds everything together.
Hmm.
Your relationships, your friendships, it also helps people, to forgive you that they
Yes.
might that
Yes.
you may have said something to or did something that you didn't mean to or whatever. But anyway, love
Mhm.
forgives a lot of things. But my point being is that when you get away from the physical, you get out of the worry, you get out of all the things that enslave you. Because
Right.
right now, a lot of people are enslaved.
Yes.
And I talked to a person the other day, a couple weeks ago, excuse me, and asked her, I said, how you doing? Well, she says, I lost my business in 2020.
Mhm.
That's tough.
Mhm.
And now they're having to start over, her and her husband. And I, shared some few things that we've got that we can, help her with and all that, which will, help them get going. And but that's what you do. That's what they need in this day and time. We all need to, help one another and be there for one another. And we're not seeing that on the on the television. We're
No,
not seeing that at
you're not
all.
seeing that. You're not
They're
seeing.
wanting us to get mad at everybody and all this other nonsense because
No.
all that's like I say, they're vomiting hate on society, and that is going to end up in a train wreck for them because you reap what you sow. That's just
And what you speak out of your mouth, that's
oh yeah,
with that too.
oh yeah, absolutely. But most the
Mhm.
biggest thing is that they're not enjoying life. They're cheating themselves out of the true riches of life. I mean, goodness gracious, that's when you're really pitiful.
I believe
you're
that wholeheartedly. I do.
yeah, you're
Watching, turning on the shows on television, do you ever turn them on, Jim, some of the sitcoms or whatever? And all the kids are angry and they're mad at each other. There's no love. They're divorced. They're broken families. I'll
mm.
be like, oh my goodness, that's just too much after a while.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it really is.
Mhm.
The slapstick comedy we grew up with. I mean, it was funny. Why is Andy Griffith, for example? Why is that show such a classic? I mean, it didn't carry on the continuation of the 6 p.m. news, or we didn't have the Kardashians back then, thank the good Lord. We didn't have all this drama and nonsense in our life. And,
I watch
all the,
those old shows.
oh, yeah. I
I
mean,
do.
it was good, funny, and some
Mhm.
of the corny things that, like the Beverly Hillbillies,
Yes, I know.
they, they
I
were hilarious.
My son laughs at me every year because at Christmas I'll start watching those little Hallmark movies.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can tell what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen, but I watch it and I said, "Don't bother me." He goes, "Mom, you know what's going to happen?" And I go, "Yes, I know. That's why I'm watching it."
Yeah.
They're just so simple, and I enjoy laughter and
Yeah.
watching those old shows.
Oh, yeah. It's very simple because it's really about entertainment.
Mhm.
See, I tell people our show's about infotainment. We
Yes.
provide information and we provide, a little bit of entertainment too.
Mhm.
But it's we've lost our ability to laugh and have fun and all that. One thing that I remember growing up, I used to hear guys do a lot, and that's when they walk down the street, they'd whistle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
Exactly.
you walk down the street now and you're whistling, you're gonna get some weird looks.
Because
They
it's all
can,
like this now.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all like this. It's all like this. And
that's right.
I miss people. I miss their face. The
Hmm.
mask. I miss their face. I miss people's eyes, because I always raised my son. I said, Anthony, always look into people's eyes. Look at them directly into their eyes. And so
Hmm.
I was a little boy, and so I often was told by teachers, they said, you know why I just really think a lot of Anthony's because he looks at me in the eye. I go, yeah.
Yeah, because that means I'm recognizing you as a
Yes.
person.
Yes, yes. So you're
Yeah.
right. We miss a lot of that today.
Oh, yeah.
But shows like this, Jim, I really think, and the things like Hannah is doing to help people,
Hmm.
you know, there's remnants of all of these good things that we're talking about, Jim, I believe all over the earth. There
Oh,
are
yeah.
they're
Oh,
just
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know that that's the case.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you won't hear that so much, but I know that's taking place.
It really is because people ask us why the show has been so successful. If you saw that banner I put up there earlier, the radio show we started this is my second bout on doing some radio. We started that show April the 5th of 2019. It's a 1 hour weekly show on TogiNet. And of course, you can see we're on iHeart, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio, and all these other places. But in July of this year, no, excuse me, July of last year, excuse me, hadn't been July this year yet. It's coming, hopefully.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, we passed 5 million downloads on the show.
Oh,
And I
that's
was, and I was teasing people. I tell them, well, we had Marty Haggard on our show in July, and before Marty showed up, we had 29 downloads. He shows up, and we get over here, we passed 5 million.
that's incredible.
But it was slowly growing and building and all that. And what we realized, and it kind of snuck up on us more than anything else. People are anemic in the world for good, positive messages, for humor, for things of this nature. And I forget who it was. We had one guy on the show, and I know who it was. It's Dr. George Grant. He's a medical doctor out of Canada. And after the show, he said, "Your show is fun to be on." He said, "You're funny." He said, "We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughter."
Mm-hmm.
And we did. And he was on last Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
With me and Donna Guinois. And we had a lot of fun on the show. But he said, because I've been on a lot of TV shows. And he's been on some, ABC and, big shows and stuff like that. And when I say big shows, I mean, not just live streaming like we are, but big shows. He says most of the guests, most of the hosts just sit there and they're kind of like, well, they want to sound more intelligent. I said, well, you don't have to worry about with me because intelligence is something they told me in the military. I never have anything to do with that, so I didn't have to worry about it.
I'm always telling my son, I said, because he's very academically bright, and so is my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Me not so much. Seriously, they were great in school, and my husband was a math major and loved history and all that. Anthony, just amazing. He studied psychology and neuroscience in college, and I couldn't even talk to him about that stuff. Mm-hmm. But, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could talk about that or knew about that. And he goes, Mom, you have EQ. And I go, what is that? And it's the emotional quotient. It's that part of us that, he goes, Mom, you're great with people. He goes, you're great at seeing what most people don't see in them, And I'd be like, I'll take that, but we have to walk in our gifts.
Oh yeah. Everybody's got their own gifts, just like, it's like animals. My goodness gracious, no two animals are the same. And I tell people that animals are gonna make it to the promised land. I said, we don't have to worry about our pets. We better worry about ourselves. And it's just amazing how I tell people, can you imagine what a wonderful world this world would be if everyone had the heart of the family dog?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's amazing, because dogs are great animals because they teach people, especially kids. They teach kids how to love and be responsible for things. Now, cats, I talk a lot about my cat on the show, and they're different. I get up in the morning, and it's about 4:30. Of course, little Dixie gets up. She got to keep an eye on me. She don't think I can do anything right. And I start making my coffee, and she wants her treat. I said, just a minute. That'll be a couple minutes. And her attitude is, I don't care. I want my treat now. You can get your coffee later,
Yes.
And once I give her treat, then she's fine. But that's her little ritual. And what my point being is her little personality is so unique. Mm-hmm. And it's such a cute little personality. And not everybody can say the same thing about their pets because all their pets have their little funny things they do. And I tell people, can you imagine like with dogs? Goodness gracious, you can train a dog, you can train a dog, you can train a dog. And you're thinking, wow, is this dog ever going to get this, And then you do that one little thing that's above and beyond the call of duty or outside the rules of training. And they go like, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. You've been holding out. And they're immediately spoiled to it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Cats are, you're right. Cats are, they're different. They just, they just have a different thought process. But Dogs, we had the last two dogs we had were 17 years old and 18 years old. Had
Mm.
one of them all of Anthony's life, just about all the way through college.
Mhm.
But they are so faithful to love you no matter what. They just wait for you. They just, I'm a dog person. I've always had
Oh
dogs.
yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
I love them.
Oh yeah. They're just wonderful. And
Mhm.
we got Dixie from the animal shelter there when she was just a kitten. And I want to share this with you. I think you're going to really enjoy this. We had a guy by the name of Rennie, Rennie, Gabriel, on our show. And Rennie, one of the things that he does with the profits from his books and a couple other things, 100% of those profits go to a nonprofit.
Mm.
And that nonprofit is called sheltertosoldier.org.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I think so. And I heard you talk about it, and I actually watched something on television. Might be different, but yes, go ahead. I think
Yeah.
that's similar to that.
And they go into they call it saving two lives. And they go into shelters, animal shelters, and they take certain dogs. They got to be medium sized and big sized dogs. They can't be, smaller dogs. And they train them anywhere from a year to a year and a half. And then they're giving to a soldier that suffers from PTSD. They can be given to anybody that suffers from, depression or whatever. But they focus on the soldiers. And the amazing thing, I don't know how long they've been around, but ever since they've given a soldier a dog, not one military person has committed suicide. That is huge. That shows you the power of what a dog can do for someone in their life, the love, the friendship, that social thing.
Mhm.
Because that way the human, the male and female soldier can connect with that dog in such a very special way that they cannot maybe not connect with another human person. But that dog, it just tears down so many barriers. And the question I ask people, where did a dog get the ability to love?
That's a good
you know, get
question.
the capacity to love. And where did it come from? We certainly know love does not come from the gates of hell. I mean,
Right, that,
I
yes.
mean, I figured that one out myself. I didn't need no
Absolutely.
help on that one. But it's really amazing because, when you think about it, where did a dog get the capacity to learn how to love and to demonstrate love and how they have that uncanny ability, my goodness gracious, to sniff out, if their owner has cancer or something of this nature. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, they're just way out there. And I
Amazing.
and I know I've gotten way off the topic you were wanting to talk about today, but
No,
we're having a good time.
no, that's one of my things, Jim. I love the animals, and think back, Jim, to years ago when the soldiers came back and there was no help for them. They
Mm,
didn't have the hospitalization that they needed, the
mm,
prosthetics that they needed, and look at what happens with them now. And I mean, there's so much happening with them now, and I
yeah.
love that they do that with the dogs. I've seen, and I've also listened to some of the soldiers and the people talk about what the dogs have meant to them.
Oh yeah. When I was
So,
in Vietnam, some of the guys that had the dogs with them,
mhm,
and they were so fond of those dogs, they would extend because
mhm.
of the dog because they were just that close. And if you tell someone on the street that, they would go like, "Oh, you're nuts." But see, they
Mhm.
don't understand the love and the bond that dog and that soldier had. But they're just, yeah. And also too, let me say this, Denise, and we've had such a great conversation. I haven't even stopped for a commercial. I'll just put up
Oh,
the screen. No, 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 because I'll tell you why. When things are flowing good, it's above and beyond, what you're doing, because it's all about the information flowing. It's all about the direction we go in, because there's someone out there that needs to hear what we're talking about.
yes, yes,
And that comes
yes,
from a higher calling. I mean, I'll be honest with you, that's above my pay grade, okay?
yeah, yeah,
It
it
really
is.
is.
But just people come in and they see this, and there is hope, and it's just conversation.
Yeah.
between the two of us. And,
Hmm.
I am really thinking about so many things come to mind just with everything that you say. And there's not enough time to say it all or to
I
talk.
know
We
it.
could talk for hours. But,
Hmm.
there was there's this little place called in Oregon called Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch. I don't know if you've ever heard of them,
No,
but
go
in
ahead.
a nutshell, Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch, it was my dream to go volunteer there. And so a couple of years ago, my best friend and I had that. We worked on the ranch for a week. And I mean,
Wow.
shoveling manure, planting flowers. We did everything with horses that are connected with broken children.
Oh,
And
yeah.
usually the horse chooses the child.
Mm.
And so that in a nutshell is what they're about.
Hmm.
And I even know of this little horse that lost its leg. I think some coyotes got its leg. A doctor came in. He fit it with a prosthetic leg. As the horse grew, gave him a new one. And they take this little horse into hospitals for
Mm.
people that have lost a limb or something like this. And this little horse ministers to them.
Oh, my
So if,
goodness
if,
gracious.
if, if the animals are doing this, are we
Hmm.
not supposed to do it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's for sure. And when you were talking about the horses and all that, every single lady that I've known, because I lived in Arizona for 20 years, and around a lot of cowboys and cowgirls. I mean, I knew them, and a lot of people had horses, but there's something about a girl and her horse. They are so close. I mean, if it's a choice between the boyfriend or the horse, the boyfriend, he going down.
You're out of here.
Yeah, he going
You're out of
down.
here, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Boyfriends are dime a dozen, but this horse here, this is pretty special. And it's
Yes.
it's really amazing the bond we have with animals and the bond we have with. I've known people that's keep different animals that I would not keep, like snakes.
Yeah, no.
I that's as I say, Salahila Holapala and blessings and tacos and to
You
you
go
and
ahead.
yours, but no, thank you. I don't think I want a snake for a pet. And but it's amazing how it wants people that connect with nature. There's a certain peace that they have and happiness that they have within, and I've seen it time and time and time again in life, and it's really comforting to know that you take like a lonely person, maybe living alone. If they get a pup or something like that, that becomes their world.
It's life changing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And when I tell people that when they lose a beloved pet and all that, well, I don't want another pet or this and that. I don't want to go through that anymore. And I just tell them, hey, just look at it like this. What if you go down to the animal shelter and you pick up a little dog there or cat or whatever? You've just possibly saved that little animal's life.
Yes.
And that animal, somehow or another, they know when they've been, been
Mhm.
moved up in the world or whatever you want to
It
call it. And
mhm.
it comes back to you. It really does.
Does. It
And
does. I when we lost our two dogs, and then my son asked me, he goes, "Well, Mom, are you going to get another dog?" And I go, "No, not right now. I'm going to wait a
mhm,
little while."
you're right.
And so Savannah, his wife, had rescued a dog and two dogs in Las Vegas 9 years ago as puppies. Anyway, so this dog, she took him home to her parents, and her mom said, of course, Savannah, you're going to have to stop bringing home these stray animals, right? So it hasn't stopped to this day. But anyway, Bear is the name of this one dog. And so when Savannah started college, Bear had to go live with family members, and also her family traveled. So Bear, the dog, she's a Belgian Shepherd, and she's
Mm,
traveled in Europe. She's traveled with a military family. She's been way more places than I have been, and
mhm.
so she settled in at her sister's house. And so I finally saw a few pictures, and they were needing Bear to have a home where she'd get more attention. And I said, "Bring me Bear." So
Mhm.
now I have Bear, and
Mm,
I'm telling you, she is just an amazing, amazing animal. So
mhm.
I'm all about that.
Oh yeah, it just floors me how animals can just be such a big part of your life. And I see I belong to the red healers and blue healers. They're the Australian cattle dogs on Facebook, and we've had several of them. We've had three of the Australian cattle dogs. We've had two blue healers and one red healer, and they're just wonderful, wonderful dogs.
Mhm.
And I realize how emotionally attached it's like losing a kid when they lose their pet. It's very devastating, and I know what they're going through. I tell people I know what it's like. It's kind of hard to dig a grave with tears in your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
but the joy and the jubilee that they bring, and the know that you know that you know that you know one day you're going to be together with them forever,
There
and
you go.
yeah, it's amazing, and it just gives you, oh, it just thrills me to think about it.
Yes, it does. There's a good book. I don't know if I would buy it for several people when they've lost their pets. It's not Do Dogs Go to Heaven or Are Dogs in Heaven, something
Mhm.
like that. But the point being is that they are,
Oh yeah,
and
oh yeah.
it's really helped a lot of people. I've bought several of those for people,
Hmm.
and not in a while, but it's very comforting.
Yeah, it's this is not a religious show or anything like that, but every now and then I will quote something from the scripture. But like you take Romans chapter 8. If someone looks at Romans chapter 8, starting around verse 20, it talks about the whole of creation groans with birth pains, and in that day they will be delivered to the children of
Mhm,
God.
mhm,
He
mhm.
ain't talking about no weeping willow trees.
No, and I'm so
And
glad about that.
oh yeah, and it's just, can you imagine that? Because dogs possess love, and so love is part of the Creator, and
It
the
is.
Creator's not going to cut off anything that's part of Him,
Mhm.
that belongs
That's
to
right.
Him, and
Yes.
that's just my philosophy. If you want to pass a collection plate, go ahead. That's fine.
Okay.
But Denise, we've talked about everything except what you sent me information on. We're going to talk about that. But I'm a firm believer. Sometimes with the energy that flows, um, we're automatically taken to an area because we don't know who's listening around the world. We just hope that we're saying something that's important to people,
Mhm.
that means a lot to them. And it's like I tell hosts, whenever you start your podcast or your radio show or something, just remember it's not about you. It never is. The classic example that I use over and over is look at like the TV show America's Got Talent.
Mhm.
When you
Oh,
tune into it, you know who the hosts are going to be, but you did not tune in for the host. You tuned
mhm,
in to see who was going to perform that night.
mhm, mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I haven't watched it lately, last few seasons, but one of my daughter's favorite characters of mine several years ago was a guy that went on there. He was known as Tape Face, I think it was. He had this masking tape across his mouth, and he had this little bag and all that. And he was really an interesting character. He really was. And when he
Mm.
first walked out on the stage, I thought, "Who
What?
is this?" And they knew he wasn't going to be able to say anything because he already had his mouth taped shut.
Mhm. That's funny. It
But
reminds me, a lot of people have never heard of this, Jim. Maybe you remember the Gong Show?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Now that's funny.
yeah.
I mean, we should bring some of this other stuff back. But anyway, yeah,
Hmm.
you're right. But I like to tell people, and part of my mission statement is that the best part of me is you,
Hmm.
whoever I'm talking to.
Right, right.
And that's the best part of me is you.
Hmm.
And that's listening and helping and um, being involved in what you're telling me.
Yeah. We've got about a minute and a half left, Denise, and
Okay.
I've really enjoyed it. But I want to stop and just give you a chance to share any thought that you'd like to with the audience right now, please.
Well, my greatest message would be for people is that no matter what you're going through, the key word is through. That you
Mm,
can get through it, and that there will be a way that you can, and it's pretty soon what you get through, you'll be past. And so
mm,
then you can take what you've been through and then help other people get through it too.
mm-hmm,
And so I just believe that everyone has to choose. This is one of the things I do. I'll say this, Jim. When the girls I mentor, I take my hands, whatever the situation is. I've got two
mm-hmm,
hands here. And I say, this is the problem and this is hope.
mm-hmm,
And I tell them, choose one of them now. They always choose hope. They
mm,
always choose the hand that has hope, no matter, because they don't want to choose the trouble. And
mm.
so you may have to do that 5, 10, 15 times a day, depending on where you are. But there's always hope in everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I like to say this, if I may, Denise. We got to bring you back on a couple of 3 months down the road when Charlene is here, because that way
Yeah.
we can, because you girls, I want to see the kind of show that you girls are going to put on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just sit back and take it. I'll just sit back and drink coffee and take it easy. I'll take the day off that day. No, but
Charlene
it's,
and I have ideas.
oh, yeah.
You have ideas. I was teasing her. I had this crazy picture when you asked for a picture of me, and it was a picture with I had a headband on and my hair was all messed up. My eyes were just wide open. I go, "Do you think this picture would work for Jen Grant?" And
Oh,
we
yeah.
both started laughing at it. She goes, "Well, it'd get their attention." And she's like, "We can do that on Hannah." And I go, "Yes, we can."
Oh,
But
yeah.
it was
Oh, that'd be
fun.
so much fun because
It was
everybody think, wow, who's on there? Is that Phyllis Diller? Or I'm showing my age there
right,
now.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We've really enjoyed the show. We hope you've enjoyed it too. And Denise, thank you so much for being on. And we
Thank
look
you,
forward to
Jen.
having you on again in, like I said, in the future, near future. And with Charlene here, because I want to see the show you two are going to put on. Because I know it's going to be infotainment, entertainment, and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we just don't even know when you pull the plug. We'll still be going.
I hear you. I hear you. I'd probably go out back and drink coffee and they won't even know I'm gone.
Thank you, Jen, very much for having me
Well, thank
today.
you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure and share the show with others and be a blessing to others. And most importantly, love yourself first. Then you can love others. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again, Denise. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.